Good morning, everyone. I'm Praveen Kothakota. I represent a stone warehouse. Today, I'm here to share some experiences with you guys on behalf of my company. We are Stone Warehouse, and my company is located based out of Florida, in Tampa, Florida, and we have a location out here in Sterling Heights, Michigan. So we are a distributor of all granite slabs, natural stone, quartz, quartzite, porcelain is our specialty. So we don't directly deal with retail customers. We do only distribution business. So we work through different phases of purchasing and procuring the material throughout the world. And we warehouse the slabs and we distribute it to installers, fabricators, and builders. And today we'll want to discuss some best practices in especially focus on quads and porcelain slabs. So we distribute quantum surfaces. Quantum quads is our brand, and under quantum quads we distribute quads. We have porcelain surfaces and Lapitec, which is in Florida. So I'd like to discuss about mostly about the quad slabs to start with, and I'd like to show our company just to have a little view. This is our main warehouse in Tampa. This is our distribution warehouse. This is where we're gonna get our product. They import most of the product over there, and we do get direct shipments to Michigan. And Michigan warehouse, we are in Sterling Heights. We are on. Wanted to pull up the picture. So this is our location right here in Michigan. This is our local stock warehouse. We do get our own containers here, and then we do receive shipments directly from Florida. So now going back to quads, so we distribute quantum surfaces, and quantum quads is our brand. And it's important nowadays for a lot of customers to understand what quads they are picking up because there's too many brands. It's confusing for homeowners and builders, everybody out there. Even my friends ask which one should I go with, and it's very confusing because of too many options. Everybody has their own private labels and people are learning. Some people learn it hard way, and installers recommend something what's easier and comfortable for them. So in general, today being here is to discuss how is the quad sourced, to understand which kind of quads is better for the countertops, which one performs. Like when some people go nowadays, all the information is available online. They say, hey, the quads is going to be stain resistant, no need to seal it, it lasts for a lifetime. Does all the quads offer the same benefits or not? That's what we are trying to address today. And at Quantum Quads, we focus on getting the best product into the market, and finding the best product is the trickier part. So it's once it's manufactured, anything manufactured can be faked. So just like they can be manipulated with the ingredients. So for the quads to perform to the best extent possible, it's important that the quads have 93% quads mixture in it. So it is made by, I would like to underline this Breton company right here. It's an Italian company who is the main, who has the industry standard, gold standard of manufacturing quads. So they have the best product in manufacturing sources, and then they have patent for their production, and then they license their technology to other companies who can go and set up their manufacturing facilities across the world. So regarding quads, it's more important than where it's made, than how it's made is like more important. So I insist the like anybody recommending looking into the quads, first step is to understand how it's made. So make sure the quads what you're recommending is a Breton manufactured quads. It goes from a Breton manufacturing line, and that's the bare minimum. So once it's a Breton minimum manufactured, it has 90 to 95% of crushed quads in it, and the rest 6 to 7% they have like other resins, polymers, sometimes add some mixtures. So it's the key part is this the percentage of natural quads which goes into the product. So once the product has 95% quads, that's what gives the highest stain resistance and the highest heat resistance which comes to the product. And once the quads had the mix of this, and then it is queued in an industrial oven, and then it's polished to desired finish to the, and then it is cut to size. And so once it is done with the highest quartz intake in it, the process results in a non-porous material, which is the most uniform, and it avoids the air pockets in the surface. So the main thing ingredient in this the natural quartz. So that's what is the important source. So which gives the more non-porous surface, which lasts for like longevity. They would say like probably about 20-25 years at least. So once it is well made with the right ingredients, it's supposed to last with on a countertop for the homeowner with the best experience. And the durability, the colors and the patterns and consistency depends on, that's what you pay for most of the time. And these, since it's non-porous, it's considered very hygienic, and these can be like sanitized on a day-to-day basis, and they have the highest heat resistance. So the Breton stone technology is developed in Italy, and it's the most advanced. And as I said, it's been outsourced or licensed under their patent to other companies, and they can set up their manufacturing unit. That costs millions of dollars for a company to invest and set up that process. Because of the raw material, everything they have to they have to stay in compliance. It includes the vacuum vibro compression system, which is the state of art compression system for manufacturing quartz, which makes the material more consistent and eliminates the air pockets in while creating the pattern and texture which can go on the top. The most of the leading quartz brands, people are familiar with quartz brands like the Cambria, Silestone, you might have heard Constantino, Caesar Stone. So people are familiar with the brands, but not many people are not familiar is how are these made. So the goal is, so even the Cambria, even the Caesar Stone, most of these are use the patented Breton stone technology. So that's what is important to understand. Go to their websites and check how they are sourcing the product, and if they offer any kind of warranty, that means at least you have a bare minimum guarantee that they're sourcing it in a proper way. I know a lot of people cannot offer Cambria, so there is other options for them when they're not affordable. Cambria is not affordable, so the Breton stone technology makes the difference if the quartz is manufactured with using that patented technology. So, how do people know about it? So, one is go for the brand's website if they're doing offering warranties, and because it's hard to dissect, like if you go to a grocery store, there is a wheat bread, you see how much percent, everything is a wheat bread unless you see the ingredients, if it is 100% wheat or a 50% wheat or a 60% wheat bread. It same goes with quads. So how much quads content is in the quads? So that's the like, most important factor. Which why I'm talking about this is since last few years, there's a lot of quads has flooded the market, and the contractors offer uh, cheaper quads, and a lot of customers don't know about it. And the quads has been installed, and they've when the customer is ready for remodeling, they got somebody who installed a flip house. So the flipper wants the best looking quads, not the best performing quads, ideally. So the homeowner buys into this house and they move into this and they start using it, and the quad starts staining or it starts burning with the heat. And then they realize, oh, the quads is not bad. Now quads is bad. So when they want to remodel, there's, oh, I have to go to something else. I don't want quads. So they shouldn't make a decision basing on that issue, because the quads by itself, if it is well made, it's supposed to last really well. Since the customer, somebody installed in their house before they bought it a bad quads, which has been flooded the market with a lot of resins and plastics. There's a lot of quads which look exactly the same. In a natural stone or a granite, the installer, even the homeowner, can identify the defects. If there is a filler, there is a crack. But the quads, it's almost impossible to tell how it's good product or a bad product unless you research how it's made, where it's made, who is supplying it, and what's coming into your house. So the people who are recommending the quads, it's important to understand how it is sourced. So here is a small graphic like the price, how does it change in the market. So there's a lot of products since it's not even regulated yet. There's a lot of suppliers who's dumping the quads product. with like lower quartz content in it, but it looks exactly the same, but probably 30-40% cheaper price. So if somebody is getting a cheaper quartz with same look, so that's the reason why some quartz products are way cheaper. And then the installers are pushing for it, some of them, because it's easier once the, as is mentioned in the Breton manufacturing process, when they're doing vibro compression, what I said. So it's eliminating all the air pockets and making it so dense and like less porous. That's the process of manufacturing. So when they include more fillers, and then the material has less tension. So the fabricator, while cutting on his saw, these poorly made products are battle handled, so they can just cut it so easily compared to a well-made product. So a well-made product requires a minimum due diligence by the installers. So like they have to cut the tension relief cuts to release the tension before on all four sides of the quad slab, so it sets down and they can start cutting it. And that there will be some tension, minimum tension is needed for most of the good quads, but the plastic filled quads, they don't have the tension. It's easier, more lighter. It never breaks on the saw. So for an installer, it's like it's easy. It's a cakewalk for him. They no need to follow any rules or restrictions how to fabricate it. As long as it lasts till they collect their money. I don't know, sometimes people pay right away, sometimes they have 1 year house warranties. That's all they need. Once it's done, they got their money, and then the customer is it's on the homeowner. So that's why the price matters. So they're able to sell so cheap. So that's a cheaper one. And then you have the standard, which is a Britain made quads. So that is what, when people research on Google or Chat GPT or anything, how quads, what it does, how it performs better compared to other countertop surfaces, it has to be Britain made quads to get that benefits. So once you have a Britain made quads, and then the anything above that, the pricing above a Britain made quads, you're mostly paying for your brand. If you're paying from Cambria, at the end of the day, it's you're paying for Cambria brand. Or it's some, once you grow higher, the higher priced quads has like more details in it. So the more detail the quads has, the more price. It takes more time to make it. Some designs have patents, like Cambria has the most patents in the way the designs and the vein patents. So they charge premium for that. They do have a good product. And then even within the brands, once they're Breton made, as I said, the more detail it has. I'm not talking about the printed quads. Of course, the printed quads has more detail in it. The quads which is done inside out with more detail, that has the more pricing. So once it's Breton made, the extra price you're paying for the brand, you're paying for more detail, the color, the more uniqueness, and the availability, which other brands may not carry it. Yes, ma'am. Caesar Stone, most of their product is Britain made. So how popular is their brand is what premium they can charge the price. So if you look at the brand chart, probably Cambria has the most premium brand recall. So they will charge the best dollar for the premium amount for the dollar amount. So once you come to Caesar Stone, then you have Silestone. There's other who are present all over in big box stores all over America, so they have the better reach. And so you're paying mostly for their brand at that point. So first thing is Britain made, and then over, if you're looking only for product or quality, you can just stop at Britain made and get your best value for your money. But you want to say, hey, I have a Cambria in my house, you're going to pay extra. Hey, I want to have certain brands, you're paying, oh, from that point you're paying for brand. Or if they have a patented design, like a unique pattern, so that's what you're paying for. But quality wise, it ends right there in the middle. So it's important to understand how the quads is sourced. And then there's few other things, like I think there's a lot of designers here, even the homeowners, to see once what's the fabric. The common mistakes in the material is handling, where whether before you pay your money or to understand whether the fabricator has done a good job. So since these are manufactured slabs and all the fabric, so we have underlined the most common things which manufacturers suggest. So first thing is the quads is manufactured, and once it's done, this they seal it off, they package them, there's plastic cover on the surface of the slab. So a lot of installers they cut with plastic on. So once the plastic surface is there, they're using CNC machines, water jets, and everything. So the plastic is not glued perfectly to the surface, like to the furniture. There's a lot of air bubbles into it. So if they're using water jets, CNCs, everything has water, water slurry, different things. They go in between the plastic and the surface, and they might leave the itch marks. So when the fabricator says, "Oh, I did the job perfectly," it's manufacturer's fault. And the manufacturer says, "No, this is." But at the end of the day, it's the homeowner who is kind of have to live with it. So it's important to notice whether the fabricators, if you're a homeowner, you're visiting a fabricator shop, just make sure they're taking off the plastic before cutting, because it's important. It protects the material. That means they're removing the plastic, they're inspecting the material for any imperfections. That is number one. Number two, it will avoid any damage to the product, because leaving the plastic on is only creating a damage. And the second most common thing is like the people are used to cutting granite slabs traditionally for sink cutouts. If they have an L-shaped table, the inner they leave 90-degree cutouts. Like in granite and marble, it's perfectly fine to leave a 90-degree angle at the perfect right angle on the sinks and the inside L's. But since quartz is manufactured, that it's the density is pretty uniform, so at the molecular level, it's very tight. So if once they're installing it or while handling it, even after it's in the house, so that 90-degree is going to be the choke point. That's where the entire tension goes to. So if it didn't break in the while fabricating, while their shop, it might break on the customer's house at some point of time. It maybe it's just a matter of time, because that 90-degree angle creates a choke point for heavy tensions. So this is what recommended by most people, and if so, make sure the inside corners are rounded all the time. So if your fabricator installer somebody is not rounding them perfectly, they need to use at least 3/8 radius to avoid stress fractures. And then the most another common use is acetone is used as a cleaner. For they're used to use the cleaner for natural stone, granites, quartzites, marbles. They use that as a number one cleaner. But for quartz, it's a strict no, because it's gonna the resins what they use to create the surface while manufacturing the quartz, the pigments what they use those things, the acetone is gonna uh, react to those particles. That's why they don't recommend it. Even though it's non-porous, the polishing surface, the acetone is gonna etch and remove the shine on the surface wherever it stays in touch for a longer time. Some people use it, they clean up right away in few seconds, it's okay. But it's a clear liquid, and if it drips somewhere and people cannot notice it, they forgot to clean it, they leave a bottle, it leaves a ring right there, and that spot is etched. And to fix it, it's really hard. Since the quartz is so hard and non-porous, it's not easier to polish like a granite or marble. It's so hard to surface polish the quartz once it's edges. So that's another common mistake. And while installing the fabricators, they go through this. Since the quartz is manufactured, it's cured, it's heated, and then it's cooled. So due to this process, and then it's being shipped across the sea, oceans. So there is a lot of temperature difference which the slab goes through. It's stocked in the warehouses at a different temperature. So it's important for this material not to have a thermal shock. So all the fabricators recommend to cut a small, like even half an inch or quarter inch, all the four sides before they start cutting it. A lot of fabricators don't follow this. No need to follow this for the cheaper quads, because they're made of mostly the resins and plastics. They don't have much tension. But any well-made quads, they need to make sure the tension relief cuts are made, so that the quads gets like a little bit relieved of any tension buildup, and it can settles down and they can cut it to whatever shape they want. So the biggest thing people run into is, oh, everybody says, like a driver saying, "Oh, I have 30 years industry. I know what I'm doing." So even if somebody has so much of experience, you can still get a ticket if you don't follow the rules. The same way applies here. They need to focus on the manufacturer recommended basic guidelines, which even though they have a lot of industry experience, they might have best machines. If they don't follow these things, whether they use the best water jet, or they use a bridge saw, or they even they cut with the hand, if they don't follow these things, the material is going to be damaged. It's just a matter of time. So these are the most common things which across the brands they're noticing, and homeowners can notice if they're install a left enough radius, or like they're removing plastic. Sometimes people come, they install it, and then they remove the plastic, like they're doing like a new appliance, a refrigerator. It feels like a new feel. That's a strict no. Then the plastic has to be removed before they put on the saw while cutting it, not at the customer's house. So those are like the minimums no nos, like which the homeowners, like designers, has to notice on those. This is a picture illustration of the 90-degree cuts of the sink cutout and the L shapes where they have to leave the minimum radius. So the 90-degree points are the choke points. They are the stress relief, and the slabs might crack there either at the sink or at over there if they cut perfect 90 degrees. We do have homeowners asking they need a perfect 90 degree. It looks really sharp, crisp, and nice, but it's not good. It's not good for the longevity of the, because something settles down. You never know, somebody might sit on it or somebody's changing a bulb. So all the stress goes to that 90-degree point, and somebody might standing on the edge, but it might crack on that corner. So it's important they round that 90-degree edge. And the maintaining the quads is probably the easiest thing on of the any of the natural stone surfaces. Only thing is about its heat protection. They have to use trivets or hot pads. Even though it's not going to burn, the well-made Britain quads are the highest heat resistance. So they should not recommend to do on and on and on. So if they're getting it something they cannot handle it, so it's not going to burn, they can leave it. So it's more like a pita bread. Like once you keep leaving it out exposed to the more heat and heat, all of a sudden the good quads suddenly breaks, like cracks wherever it's constantly exposed to heat. So if somebody is having a stove which is which is an insert, and then some stoves are like cooktops, they need to make sure they have a heat barrier around it so it's not constantly exposed. So that's the biggest downfall, and people needs to follow that. And then cleaning with regular cleaners, the main thing is they no need to overdo any cleaning. Just the soft cloth or a soft sponge mixed with the hot water, dish soap is enough in most of the cases. And then the magic eraser, which one by Mr. Clean, and the simple green, they can usually wipe off the finer any dirt on the slam. And then if anything hard spills, people can use baking soap, baking soda and water paste. And then if it's not, for some of them are like marker lines, like permanent marker lines, sometimes they might be hard to use. In that case, a barkeeper's friendly, which is like a soft, it's clearly says on that soft, it's like a non-abrasive one. You need to use very specific barkeepers which you can use to wipe off any hard stains. It's not going to damage. Unlike natural stones, you cannot use a barkeepers on any of the natural stone like granite and marble, but uh, you can have a little bit leverage to use on the quads whenever you have a little hard stains. Like prevention is better, so always if you see any coffee, wine, those are the most worst stains. So if whenever you see those kind of spills, just try to clean it away right away. And the surface is non-porous, you can always sanitize. You can use disinfectant spray and wipes to make it clean, to clean your food prep areas really nice and clean. So the most important thing is the most harsh chemicals and the agents. When they used it, they remove the shine and etch. So use the simplest cleaning, and no sealing of the countertop. Some people want to say, "Hey, I'm going to seal it anyways. It's going to look good. It's going to protect me." Sometimes it works the opposite way. The sealer may not stick on certain areas, and it might leave when the light is reflecting. You'll see some spots. Some place it's sealed, it's reflective. Some place the sealer didn't stick. It's look like a stain. So no need to do any sealing on the countertop. And cutting directly on the countertop is okay, but it shouldn't be a practice. Either the pan will get damaged, you never know what quartz it is. So rather than that, you just use a like cutting boards, and placing the hot pans directly and the constant heat exposure, which we talk, should be avoided all the times. And some people have like slow cookers and all, so it's better to use like the cutting boards if they have any like wooden boards underneath it. And we had another case, some people have like hot water, even the water which comes from the well water or something which has like too much, they have a like a drying pad underneath, and they keep drying all their after the cleaning or their utensils. They're drying on that for like months and years. And one fine day, they removed the they never cleaned the pad, so the pad left a mark on the countertop. So sometimes the water has different minerals, the well water, and also they might leave some stains on the surface, which will be hard to clean. So the bare minimum care has to be taken, especially because most squads people use it for marble look and modern look and anything, especially anything white, because people use squads because they want a white countertop and granite doesn't offer it. And the same thing goes in granite too. Anything on black or anything on white, you can see anything so easily. So minimum care is recommended. It's people say it's carefree, but you need to have a minimum care on the quartz countertops. So the summary and the quantum quads is we source all the Breton made quads, and we try to keep ourselves very quality conscious, and we don't want to be more aggressive. We don't want to grab all the sales. Being a supplier, everybody runs into a point. Everybody wants to get that one large order, one large big commercial job or something like that, and they try to compromise on quality in order to work on the numbers. But at Quantum Codes, we try to do our best in keeping getting sourcing the right product at a really good price. And make sure whether you choose Quantum or any other brand, make sure the quads is Britain made, so that gives you the best value for your money. And the selection, of course, depends on the design and the finish, thickness, budget, and all these depends on the. And I said it's easier to maintain, just clean with soap and water, and it's an excellent choice. It will Quartz can never go wrong for the kitchen and the bathrooms. And the next section of this trying to talk the biggest product which is trying to take over is porcelain slabs. It's still in the entry level. Only some people are using it. Some people are not using it. Everybody has their own feedback on porcelain slabs. At Stone Warehouse, we have associated with Atlas Plan, which is an Italian manufacturer who have one of the best manufacturing systems to manufacture the porcelain slabs. So just like the what is it, Breton stone technology, which is originated somehow, everything is linked to Italy. They are the best ones who pioneered and starting the best technology. How to everybody makes them, but they set the world standard and how something is made. On a Quartz perspective, Breton Stone licensed other companies, so they are able to go and open factories across the world. And the porcelain also has some best technologies which are patented in Italy and by Italian manufacturers. But the porcelain slabs has a thing is they have the entire ecosystem. So they have a lot of things go into the. It's not in the quads. 93% is the quads. Over here, you have different clays and different kinds of pigments. There's so much of material going into it, and there is so many of the production phases. So even though somebody has a best Italian machine, it's important to have the entire ecosystem of raw materials to produce the best porcelain slab. So that's what Italy has an edge for. So we recommend if I am buying a porcelain, I would say the biggest deal breaker for me if it is it a made in Italy or not. So like if I'm buying a quads, I would see is it a Breton made or not. Quads is like made in Italy or not is the biggest deal breaker if you are looking for uh, ultimate performance wise. So Atlas Plan has their own proprietary technology. They use porcelain stoneware to manufacture their porcelain slabs, the large format slabs. And the SOCME Continua Plus is the advanced latest technology. It doesn't use any mold for pressing the and making into the slabs. They make large format 5 by 10 feet, 5 feet by 10 feet slabs, which can be used in different applications. So they're made. The porcelain slabs are made from the refined clay, feldspar, silica, and so many natural minerals goes into it. And there is a lot of competition in this category to be categorized as porcelain. Italian government set standards. What is called as porcelain, what they can export as porcelain, what they cannot label as porcelain. So that's why you see in this category there's other brands in the market. The popular ones are like Decton and Neolith. So they don't call themselves as the porcelain because their ingredients are slightly different, because they cannot label it as porcelain when it is shipped out of Italy. So the mixture goes into the when they mix all these ingredients and they're pressed under high pressure and they're fired to the extreme high temperatures of 1200 Celsius. So this is what makes the porcelain like what it is for its application, for its durability to applying on the fireplaces because of its high heat resistance. It can be used. So it's the number one choice nowadays for people to use for fireplace surrounds when a lot of people have skeptical about quads, so they're using porcelain for a fireplace application. And they're completely UV proof and they're non-porous. And during fire, the material undergoes another process called vitrification. It creates more dense and non-porous structure. That's what makes it UV highly resistant to ultraviolet light, so it can be used for exterior walls, which Quartz doesn't offer. So the porcelain has like more applications. They can be used indoors, outdoors, wall applications. So this is becoming most popular product in the industry today. And the Italian digital inkjet printing is also one of the top class of the world. That's why they're able to get the best prints onto the porcelain slabs to get to the marble looks. So they use the advanced compaction and firing to ensure strength and content. So they have like two large industrial bells which are calibrated to the thickness of the slabs, which are typically 6 mm, 12 mm, and 2 cm. So instead of using a mold casting like they use in quads, they use industrial bells, which it's completely make the mixture goes on them, and then the digital inkjet also goes on top of it, and then the robot polishing and finishing gives the extreme durability for the prints. So the Italy has, as I said, they have the innovation and most ecosystem. The most popular brands are in Italy are the Laminam, but that's not very USA focused. But the other brands like Florim and Atlas Concord are American focused customers, and they select colors for which are focused for American market. And the most problem with the advantage with the porcelain is that I would underline the word sustainability. So quartz, it has the ingredients used in the porcelain are the more environment friendly and they're more recyclable, and it gives an advantage over quartz. So it's kind of and wide verse application for the porcelain, and it's only a time when the designers and installers start using the biggest roadblock for the uh, porcelain slabs are the learning curve for the installers. So if an installer, if the customer wants a porcelain slab, the biggest problem we see is whether the installer can do it or not. So a lot of people who do granite and quartz, the installer try to do porcelain slabs and they use the similar tools, similar technique, and they end up damaging or breaking the slabs. And then they think, oh, it's higher risk product to handle it, and they start charging more to handle a porcelain slab. So the people who have advanced machinery of water jets and good skill set, they're able to handle it. So if we have like to give like 200 people granite shops or more in Michigan, probably 10 or 20 people, a handful, less than 10% of the people are able to do Decton or Neolith kind of products because of the limitation of their skill set of what the people they have, what kind of machine they have. So that kind of limits that needs the people needs to be trained on how to handle it. So that's where the Atlas plan comes in. So this that's why I'm talking about why they call Decton, why they call Neolith, or Atlas plan calls porcelain, Florin calls porcelain. So once it's categorized as a porcelain, so it's more easier to cut. So while it's not as easy as quads, but they need to use a porcelain blade. It's a less of a learning curve to cutting an Atlas porcelain slab versus the competition. So once the installers, the fabricators are trained what kind of blades to use, what kind of RPM, they can cut Atlas slab at way higher RPM compared to the competition. So the people who want wall applications and countertop applications, they are handled differently. If the installer says So a lot of installers say, they don't say, I cannot handle it, I don't know how to cut it. They're going to say it's going to break, it's not good for you, and then the customer changes their mind and switches to another slab, switches to another product like granite or quartz. But the porcelain has the highest durability. When it has, the more thicker it is, the highest impact resistance it has. So they have typically, the pricing is dependent on the thickness, the 6 mm or the cheaper, and the 12 mm is like the kind of standard which kind of works for everything, and the 20 mm or 2 centimeter has the highest impact resistance. So that's where everybody is putting their effort, all the technology they're trying to improve on the thicker porcelain slabs. It's still, and the biggest advantage of the porcelain is the veining and book matching. They're book matched on all the four sides. So if customer is trying to achieve a certain design, they can book match on all four sides of the slab. And same like the quads, choose the Italian made brand, so they have the best quality and the assistance. So if you're looking for quads, irrespective of the brand, look for an Italian made porcelain. So that's best for, especially if you're using a countertop application. For the wall application, you have a little wiggle room. You can the countertop application makes the biggest difference because it has the most used space instead of a wall. So an Italian made porcelain with a 2 centimeter thickness will be the best bet. And then if they use a 12 mm, the main problem is on a 12 mm, they have to build up and do like a 2 inch or 3 inch around it for the aesthetics or the look about it. On a 2 centimeter, they can just cut it like a quartz countertop and they can install it just like that. So that saves. I, look is one thing. If people want that kind of looks like a thinner countertop, but that makes a big difference on pricing, because if you do a 12 mm, the people have to miter every edge, build up the perimeter around it, and then glue it together, put it together. It takes like so much time. That's where homeowners pay the money for, versus a 2 cm thickness quads. An Atlas plan has some natural vein technology which you can see the vein through it. So once the polish is it's polished out, they can set it and install like a quartz countertop. And the technology is still evolving. Once it's like a perfected, that might be the best bet to, because it has so much technology involved in, and it's a growing product. So this is the belt I'm talking about. So instead of a mold, this is a steel belt. That's where the porcelain mixture goes into the compactor, and that's where how it's pressed upon the steel belt. And sometimes the steel belt can be used to print the uh, design on the porcelain slab as well. So the industry standard for the most of the like the non-Italian maids, the biggest thing is like the resolution on our phone. They have 400 DPI resolution versus the Atlas Plan machine achieves like 800 dots per inch. So that's the highest resolution which it can produce on imprinting with and then polish. Because there are some porcelain slabs you might notice like, hey, what's the difference? I go to Home Depot, I find a porcelain for like $1, and the same looking porcelain you're gonna find like $5-6. Some of these polished are just like a glaze on the top, they're not really polished or shine. And some people add like a glass coat on the top so it looks with, and then something happens, you look like your windshield, it's cracked. Style is not cracked, but the surface is, you see the crack on top of it. So the Atlas Plan, most of the product is polished, so it has the polish is in the material, not like a coat on the top. And then the print being so high, it looks a perfect picture on those. And this is a brief overview of the market for the porcelain demand. It's still capturing entering the market, and the last red line shows the compounded annual growth rate of of porcelain slab versus the other products like quartz, granite, natural stone. And this is the latest data of the imports into United States of different products. The orange one you see is the porcelain, and the yellow one is the quartz. Those are the biggest bandwidth. The granite is the blue one. It's been pretty consistent or going lesser day by day, and the porcelain is slowly taking over the amount of product coming into the. This is as of April 2025. This shows the promise which porcelain has, which might be in the future. Once the technology kind of develops and it can develop into better prints and more uh, thicker versions, it might take over quartz territory a little bit. And another most important thing is its application. So, unlike not just the countertops and vanities, it can be used for tables, it can be used for like coffee tables, floor, like any of the outside wall ceilings, commercial buildings, uh, exterior, interior, because of its high UV resistance. They're available in different formats, different sizes depending on the project. They can be made. Atlas has matching floor tiles with the slabs. They can be ordered. I think we're running out of time a little bit. I'm going to rush through. So the porcelain stoneware has the best quality. They kind of balance. The why I'm talking about this is kind of important. Sometimes the material can be well made, so it's very best for the homeowner. But if it's not, if the best for the installer who is cutting it, and then it's not. It's important to strike the balance for the performance on while handling and cutting at the same time performing well for the homeowner. So some of the products like Decton is like one of the best, like non-porous range. It's the very highest non-porosity range. So sometimes when the product is 98% non-porous and one product is 99% non-porous, but the 98% product performs better while handling it. You have less breakage, less issues. So it doesn't matter when something is nine at that point. So Atlas is using the porcelain stoneware technology, try to balance where most installers can install freely with less breakage on the saw, easier handling, and then at the same time offers a lot of resistance to UV, heat, scratch. It can be applied to literally anywhere in the construction business. So the main advantage with the Atlas is the ecosystem. Atlas Concord has matching tiles and and then the most competitors also when you import you need to comply uh, ANSI 1373 porcelain standards for commercial projects. A lot of homeowners don't tend to care. That's another reason people to comply to that porcelain standard they have to incorporate specific manufacturing techniques to comply on that. So some of the when somebody is using this porcelain product, this product clears most restrictions because the way it's manufactured. And it's easier to cut. The mechanical tools can be used to cut with a regular saws, and power tools are only requirements. And the natural vein and natural body are the best. Let me go through that real quick. So they're trying to develop an ecosystem. They're associated with the Tenax, which are known for the epoxies and glues, which are used for the seams. So somebody using Atlas product, they can go to Tenax to find the matching product. And also the tools they're associated with companies in America. So they have specific tools meant for manufacturing and fabricating these Atlas products. This is the book match product which they have, which book matches on all four sides of the slab. When they have like A and B, they can want to match on all sides of the slab, which can be incorporated into designs. And then this feature is available on the 6 It's basically for the wall patterns. It's like a continuous flow. So the vein movement is like there is a so instead of just the book mats, this is going to have a continuity movement among four different slabs which grows across, which called an endless look. And these are the different finishes. There are six different finishes available in Atlas porcelain slabs. So while the polished is the most popular finish, but the most practical for countertop usage is the matte, hammered, or leather finish or silk. So I would recommend those because of the usage and because people might have porcelain cookware. The porcelain cookware might scratch a little bit on the surface of a polished porcelain slab. So it's for a longevity of a countertop usage, the anything other than a polished surface will be the best option for porcelain slab usage. This is the natural vein proprietary technology for Atlas. So if you see the vein, a lot of porcelain has a print just on the surface. The vein carries through the edge of the surface. This is available in only 2 centimeter thickness. So the edge can be polished and left like that, just like the quad slabs. and there is a natural body, so the body is going to have the same texture as the surface of the slab. So those are more like less veiny pattern, but they have like more consistent solid patterns. So that's the look of the vein, which you can see going through it. And it's only right now, it's available only in 2 centimeter. And there is no book match available in this technology as of now. These are some other options. Are we good? A couple minutes. So the Atlas spline highlights it's more easier to cut. The fabricators can cut at higher RPM. They can use basic porcelain tools to cut them, unlike Decton or Neolith. and it has a US market oriented color palette, and it's a Florida based team. They're using starting doing a lot of promotional activities and CUs to kind of enter into the market. And this market has been growing pretty good. We expect porcelain market to take over a decent chunk of countertop business in near future. And here are some colors of porcelain slabs. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate your time. And I would like to invite you guys to our warehouse if you ever come to Sterling Heights area. It's not far from here. Please do visit our warehouse and have a look at our slab selection. And thank you very much, Patty, for organizing and giving an opportunity. Thank you. Have a great day.